At the end of this video, you should have enough information to make an informed decision if you should invest in TitanX. Before we get started with the presentation, some few information beforehand. We've got the news. The official launch date is this Saturday, the 28th of October 2023. The white paper link is right there. It's at docs.titanx.win. And there is two Telegram groups, TitanX Crypto and TitanX News. You should probably both join them if you are interested in participating. This is the TitanX News and this is TitanX Win. Before we get started, here is a quick TitanX summary. Essentially, at the beginning, there's going to be zero supply. So users are going to create new supply using ETH plus time. And it becomes harder and more expensive to create that supply with every day passing. So users are encouraged to start creating this new supply as early as possible. And when finally the supply gets liquid after the time has passed, then also the users are discouraged to sell it, which will hurt the price. They could stake TitanX, those tokens, and they could start earning yield in ETH. And this is important because the ETH is going to be liquid. So they could spend that ETH any way they want. And also the last thing, the buy and burn, which is going to be a big thing because especially at the beginning, but even later on, it's going to pump the price. All right. So I have prepared a little presentation here and we want to go through how TitanX work with all the mechanics and so on. So let's get started. Is you the user? You will have your MetaMask basically. When the token launches on the 28th of October, you're gonna have two options straight from the get-go. The first one is gonna be you're gonna be able to buy the TitanX token on Uniswap, and the other option is starting a virtual miner. I'm gonna go both through these options, but we're gonna start with a virtual miner basically. It is essential for you to understand the concept of virtual miner. So in TitanX, you create your own tokens and you use ETH and time. So you don't need any hardware or anything of the like. You just need ETH and you need time. So let's look at the use case of, let's say, creating one single miner. So you decide to start a virtual miner. The ETH cost is going to be between 0.02 ETH to zero point 0.2 ETH. And there's this concept called the miner power. And basically, when you have 100 power, miner power, is essentially you're going to be spending the zero point 0.2 ETH. So when we talk about a max miner, you should always know that it's about you have spent zero point 0.2 ETH. And then on top of that, when you start a miner, you select either the miner power and the miner length. And the length is going to be between 1 day and 280 days. So as an example, if you choose a max miner of zero point 0.2 ETH and just mine for 1 day, it's going to cost you zero point 0.2 ETH. It doesn't matter how long you mine for, the cost always stays the same. This is important. And here I took some screenshot also here. So this is how it's gonna look on the, as you can see here, the miner length. You can create the miner length and then the miner power. And basically here 100, that's the max miner basically. And then you can just create your miner and then MetaMask will open and then you have to verify. So essentially, if we just summarize that quick, you as the user, you choose to start a virtual miner and then you specify the miner power, which is basically the ETH cost, and then you have the miner length from 1 day to 280 days. The longer you mine, the more coins you get. And the earlier you start, so if you mine on the first day, that's when you get the most coins basically. So it pays off to basically start your miners directly on the first day because you're going to get the most. And the combination of the two determines how much TitanX you get at the end of mining. So we can have a look here. As you can see here, this is the cost per TitanX max miner. So and it ratchets up 0.08% every day based on the day before. So as you can see, the cost starts at zero point 0.2 ETH on the first day, and it starts going up 0.08% up to 1 ETH. This should be around 2000 days. So that's quite a bit. But it's obviously, as you can see, it pays off to start very early. Also, one of another chart is here. As you can see, directly on the first day, you get 8 million tokens per max miner, basically. And one day later, you get minus 0.35%. And it starts going down all the way down. And then the minimum after around, seems here like 1,500 days, it's going to be like 800 per day. So as you can see, the costs start getting higher and you start getting less coins per day. So as you can see, it pays off to just start mining early. That's the the essential part of it. So let's say you've started a miner and you've started mining for whatever 5 days, 7 days, or whatsoever. This is just an example so that I can show you how this system basically works. So you're a miner, and the smart contract is the one which will register your miner. So let's say you waited for those days and you need now to start claiming your tokens. Since your tokens are not liquid, they're only liquid after you claim them on the day when the miner stops. So here you again, as the user, MetaMask, this is the time after you have waited that your miner has ended. And when your miner ends, you have a 7-day grace period. And then they starts the late claim penalties. As you can see, this ratchets up very, very quickly. On the first day is only 1%, and then on the seventh day, you lost 99%. So this is basically now to engage the users. Like you need to come back and actually do something. So you want to TitanX is all about engagement of the user, as you can see. This is very severe penalties, obviously. So you incentivize to come back and claim your Titan X. And so basically, after you claimed it, the tokens are going to be liquid and they're going to land on your MetaMask. And then once they're in your MetaMask, you can just hold them and wait. So as a user, when your TitanX are liquid, there's three options you have. Well, four options. Holding is also an option, but another option is like you can sell them on Uniswap, or you can liquidity provide it. This is a topic which we could talk in the future, but for today we're just going to leave it here. Or you can do the staking. So obviously, how the market works is the following: if the user, you want to incentivize the user not to sell your tokens, because that will, if they sell it, the price is going to be going down. And price going down, well, that doesn't attract many more people. So there's another incentive, which is staking. We're going to go through staking in a bit. Let's just go back and then see directly on that first day what you could also do. This is, we've gone through the virtual miner part. Now let's go through buying it on Uniswap. I would not recommend doing this directly on the first day. If you have a very big clip size, sure, you can go ahead and buy probably some of Uniswap. There's going to be very small liquidity at the beginning. This has changed to, by the way, I think it's right now. So yeah. So as you know already, direct from the get go, there's going to be what the price is going to be, because this liquidity pool is going to be locked. It's going to be locked from the get go. And yeah, that's why you have the price here. You can do 8 ETH divided by 1 billion, and then you're going to have the starting price essentially. This is how Uniswap V3 liquidity pool works. And as you can see, there's going to be a 1% liquidity fee, which is for people who are interested in liquidity providing, they could do that. But well, in order to even participate in this liquidity providing, is like you need to first start a miner. Like the minimum time of mining is 1 day. And obviously, you're not going to get not much of it, but you could have a bit liquidity provided and then some of it stake it. So let's go to the staking part. I think this could be very interesting for a lot of people. So as I said earlier, TitanX, the whole ecosystem, what it does is the people who have now their TitanX tokens liquid, you want to incentivize them not to sell it. There is a staking mechanism. The duration is minimum of 28 days, a maximum of 3,500 days. And then essentially, when you want to stake, you essentially buy shares. And those shares, they're denominated in TitanX basically. And one share at the beginning is going to cost around 800. And then the cost every day keeps going up. And I think the share rate cap is 2,800. So this is how much it's going to cost after, yeah, around 4,000 days and a bit. So, and yeah, and for there's some bonuses as well for the shares. The longer pays more, and also bigger pays more. So you could look into that as well. And also there's some penalties here as well. There's only an option. There's an option for ending your stake, and that's at 50% maturity. And yeah. So at 50% maturity, that's the late end stake basically. Your stake has ended. You have 1 week grace period, and then you start losing 1% per day. And after 100 days, you've lost 99%. And this is important basically because if your wouldn't have happened, you could have been getting paid out with these pools here. So this has to stop in some ways. So the user have to come and basically stop their share in some ways. This is going to be way more clear when we have the UI. For now, we don't have the UI, but this Saturday, I'm going to go through it again, and then we're going to see how that works. So now this is going to be interesting how this payout poll, how they start working. I would like to go back here for a few seconds to just explain what happens. So when you start a single miner, you're going to be spending zero point 0.2 ETH. Let's say you start a max miner, zero point 0.2 ETH, and whatever, for 280 days. So the maximum length. That ETH lands in this smart contract, and it lands in this pool, distribute ETH pool, basically. And in this distribute ETH pool, this is where all the ETH are going to be collected first. No one has access to this. This is completely locked, smart contract. And there's going to be function which the users can, and they're also incentivized for that. So you're going to get 0.33% of the ETH, which is in this pool. And it's going to be distributed as you can see here. So there's going to be 28% will be distributed to these pools here. 62% is going to be going to the buy and burn pool, and 7% is going to be on this burn payout pool. This is something which is going to come a bit later. And then 3% is going to be on the Genesis pool. Let's go first on this buy and burn pool because this is probably interesting for a lot of people. This is definitely, especially at the beginning, is going to start pumping the price completely like crazy. 62% is very, very high. And what this is going to do, this is also going to be a function which the users needs to, and any user who call this function is going to receive 0.33% of the ETH in this pool. And what that does is basically is going to buy the TitanX, which is on the Uniswap liquidity pool, and burn it. So basically, so you take TitanX supply out of the market and basically burn it. This is like the burner address, which they're going to be forwarded to. Let's go to this TitanX takers payout. I think this is quite interesting, and a lot of people are very excited about this because this is where you earn your yield. So this is a bit different than the other ecosystem. So here, basically, there's going to be a rolling payout. If you have acquired any shares, which denominated in TitanX, you're going to have a percentage of this share pool, of the global share pool. So let's say if you have 5% of the share pool, on the eighth day, if you're staked, if you have any shares on the eighth day, you're going to get 5% of whatever money which is on this pool. And the days they're rolling out as well. So date 8, 16, 24, 32, and so on. And here there's different ones. So every 28 days, every 90 days, every 369 days, every 888 days. So basically, this is going to be good marketing for the future because we can see on chain these pools filling up. So at some point, especially this day 90 or day 28 as well, there's going to be a lot of Ethereums here. So this is going to be good, well, essentially for the marketing because people can see it on chain how much money is there. So it's going to drive people to basically not sell their token and start staking basically so that they can get that piece of the cake of these payout pools. One little thing as well which could happen is, as you can see here, day 56 for instance, there's going to be there's more days, but this is just an example. At day 8 and day 28, yeah, these two pools gonna occur on the same day basically. So essentially, if you would like to get payout on these days, you could stake. Your first stake could be ending on the day 55, and then day 56 you're gonna get a piece of that as well. So that's like one of the examples. So essentially now hopefully you get the gist of it. Leave your questions below.